late. Check out my neighbors' Christmas lights. I never did show everybody the lights. I'm gonna try to rip them down as quick as I get a chance and my wife lets me. But yeah. So, there it is. Stop, you freak. The cold weather makes that dude he's so wound up. He loves this cold. Okay, let's go do the live feed. I'm just running late like always. Oh God, oh God. Watch, he's gonna try to fight me. Oh no. The worst start to a live? What are you doing? Doing crazy? Huh? Huh? Alright, I'm gonna go do my live. You be quiet. Okay, so I had you guys in this thing originally. Sorry. Let me get set up here. I tried to bring a... You wanna come in? You wanna go back out? No, this ain't a game. You're crazy. Like I said, the cold weather, he's nuts. So, let me, I feel like it's very not lit up in here. Let's see. There we go. What's up? Alright, let me hook up a charger for my phone and get set up here, and then we'll just get into a live feed, like always. Hopefully yeah, it's in here. So here's the thing I use always for the live feeds. This thing's so heavy. It's got this weird big gooseneck. I found it at some bargain store one time and bought it. It works pretty good. Sometimes I twist it on accident and it gets all loose though, like this. Alright. So, hook up charger to it. Sweet, you know what? Got these little like string things on the back side of it right here. I can like run an extension cord through. Pretty nice. Okay. Alright, last time I'm going to switch it. Sorry for this beginning being so chaotic. But anybody that comes here for 1 week should know it's basically like this every time, it seems like. I'm not good at being prepared, especially for live feeds. Alright, now if I can get this charger to hook up, we are good. Yes, we're good. I got a little heater going So at least it won't get any colder out here. Ugh, that thing. You guys up there. Oh, I like this. No, this is nice. I'm all comfy. I can do this. Oh, what's up? And I put the camera on the wrong side, but I guess I needed the charger on there to be alright. Who all we have? We have John, BTS, Billy, Ground Pounder. What's everybody doing? Lighting is good. Yeah. Yeah, it's not too bright, but yeah. Check out my hoodie that my mother and father-in-law got me. This thing's cool. I think Ground Pounder basically was just trying to get me back on subject, which is a good idea, guys. If I give you a topic and we get onto a subject, I am the worst about getting off topic and just rambling. So, get me back on topic. The video was, let me just make sure I stay with the comments though. Dang it. John, how are you? Oh, is John here? What's up, John? Okay. To climb, to bucket. That is the question. Which one? So, thank you, Dan. Thanks, Ground Pounder. Yeah, Billy, I was stoked. They always, like, I think my soon-to-be sister-in-law got me a tree surgeon shirt that has, it just says tree surgeon real big on it. It's got a 200T last year for Christmas, and then this year I got this one. So, and if there was any way I could show off a shirt, I would have wore the shirt that I got from DQ Daryl. But yeah. Oh, bro, I was just rambling. No. Very, like, I need that. Like, I'll get off topic. What's up, Abe? How you doing, buddy? First day back like a hail of bay. First day back to work in 2 weeks. If the real feel is for tomorrow is 20, I stay home. Felt great to climb nasty. Yeah, but you know what, man? Abe can, okay, this is kind of cool because Abe will probably be able to contest to this some because of having the 2 weeks away. I'll use my bucket if I can, is what Ground Pounder says. Don't blame me, Abe. Okay, now to climb or have a bucket truck. Now, I'm sure I get open to, people are way more open with me than they would be most people when it comes to, like, I'm not trying to say anything to anybody who uses a bucket truck. That is not my intentions at all. I think it's intelligent. If I had one, I'd use one. And I've been in the situations where I had the option and I became very, very, very dependent on the bucket and started putting it in places where it probably shouldn't have been, pushing the limits of it, just almost a refusal to climb. So the customer situation, like, I run into all the time. I get a call. Let's see here. Let me catch up on a couple. But holler is a cat's meow lately. Love it. That's cool. I will use the bucket if I can also, says BTS. Cool. Yeah. I mean, you would be silly not to. Man, the cost of a bucket is not exactly cheap. Absolutely not. And I was asked a question just recently about maybe getting a piece of machinery for doing the groundwork. And I just explained in that, like, before COVID hit, I was this close to going and getting a dingo, putting a grapple on it, and that's what we were going to use for brush. I ran into so many times not having a ground guide that I was like, I'm not doing this no more. I'll go get a dingo. Um, Things have changed drastically, and that's not even an option for me now. So, I mean, it is what it is. I make do with what I got with kind of what life's thrown at me and deal with the way things have changed. But it definitely was my intention to work my way towards getting some equipment um, over a year or more ago. So the thing I was talking about with the customers, I'll have customers call me. They'll ask me, first thing, that job that you just seen, I had a comment on that that said, looked like a very easy bucket job. So to be honest, like I don't know. I don't know if it would have been a really easy bucket job. I didn't look at the job in that way at all. I have access and can get a bucket and use a bucket anytime I want. It's just the cost is completely transferred over to the customer, and you just throw another $500 on top of everything, and that's the way you can make it so you can use a bucket. But the customers will call me all the time, and they'll have me come in. The first thing that the video that you guys just saw with the trimming in the rain, the first thing that man or that the wife actually, because that's the one I talked to first. I showed up earlier that morning and explained it to the husband, but she wanted to know, like, you're not going to bring any equipment in our yard, are you? We just got our grass all going, this that. They were having trouble growing it still down the side, so like the lifting of the trees, letting the sunlight and stuff in was going to help with that. Um, they said that they had a bucket truck that came in, took down a tree in the very back corner at one point. Um, I think it may have actually been the city that was doing it because it was electric line back there. They took down a tree and just rutted their yard all up. Ended up breaking a drain pipe that they had somewhere. So like her first thing was, "You're not bringing any equipment. Like, can you get it done without bringing any equipment in?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, absolutely." She's like, "No equipment, right?" It's like, no, like, and I run into this all the time. I'm sure people wouldn't complain to just some random other tree service that's sitting with a bucket truck out there. But as soon as they hear that I don't own a bucket truck and don't use a bucket truck, they are so quick to give me every horror story that they've had about someone bringing a piece of big machinery into their yard and tearing something up, and you know they're not dumb. That person's doing that because that makes that so much safer and maybe even easier. But I wouldn't say quicker because it's going to depend. But like for the most part, they see why people do it. They're not dumb, and I'm the same way. I see why someone would use a bucket truck every day, and I'll explain. Like, I had that experience, so they just that's their first thing they ask. So I didn't even look at the job like that. I knew that because I wanted to get access with originally I was going to haul everything off. Then the husband said he wanted to just like save another couple bucks, so like all the brush stayed. So originally I was looking how to get my trailer close to the brush. There was a fence and a neighbor on the other side that I was going to ask if we could get up in there. We couldn't contact them. Um, and then there was no other way to get to it. So I don't know that you could have got a bucket truck to it anyway. But hey, I totally get why people say that. But I've been there, and I'll explain it. Let me catch up on a couple comments, and I'll go into it. But I don't want to get too far behind on comments. This is dropping triple digits on a spider. Not happening. Oh, yeah. You can't use it on every job though, and some people don't want it on their properties ever with plywood, even with plywood. 100%. Yep, turbo is 100% right there. I worked for a company, and the upkeep on a bucket truck is not cheap or at times affordable. Exactly. Easy to say, it'd be an easy whatever if the comment. Yeah, 100% ground powder. I'll climb if those cases, then turbo if the job. Yeah, there you go. You own it, you have it, you should use it. Now, Here's what I like fell victim to when it comes to a bucket. And I'll explain my story that I have with it. I hear more about people with skid steers tearing up yards. Yeah, yeah. Bobcat skid steers. I hear about that all the time. Um, that's another one that, you know, it may. I think they brought a pretty big bucket truck into the yard, is what had these people specifically so upset. And then they brought in bobcats to get the stuff out. And that was the only way to get in because there's buildings on the yada yada yada. But, you know, I worked for a company, and when I first started, originally I was just there to climb the ones that they couldn't get to with their bucket trucks. Especially the tracked ones, BTS says. Yeah, yeah, I know. But I think the wheeled ones may actually tear a yard up worse. They rut a yard up, and they like dig holes almost. But because the one, well, when I worked for the company, we had a Bobcat. It had wheels on it, treaded tires, and then we had a Bill Jacks lift. It was a 55 foot, or no, 60 foot. 60 foot Bill Jacks pull behind. I could get this into some of the tightest spots. And originally, I was working only to do the climbing, and then they had a bucket operator that would do the bucket truck stuff. You're right. The heavy equipment on the yard is often not wanted, and you're right. To loaders solves that BTS. Yep. I have access to one, but I usually just climb, but I'm old school. Right on. So, hey, Turbo, that you're getting it done, man. That's all that matters. Arbor mats help out great with a mini skid. Yeah, but they are. I mean, to drop that kind of money on some mats is a hard thing to do. To go drop the money on just plywood, enough plywood, is insane. So, I had a customer tell me today I don't want a bucket in my backyard. I said, okay, I will climb it, but it's going to be double. Yeah, I mean, exactly. So, my bucket gets across the scales with nothing on it at 26,300 pounds. Wow. Toe behind lift, 5K pounds, lightweight. Very lightweight, Abe. It was very lightweight. Easy to get in there. So, eventually that bucket operator would not work, and then maybe, I don't even remember what happened, but then it was, will you do this one? An extra one. And here you can use the lift. And originally, I hated that thing. I didn't want nothing to do with it. They took me up in it a few times. I felt it sway. That was the first time I'd ever been in a bucket. I said, nope, keep it away from me. Now, then they get me onto a job, and it's in like some extreme wind, and it's blowing all over the place. It's very chaotic. He says, use the or the lift. It's already set up. Don't climb up there because then you're tied into the tree. What if something was to happen? And we were taking off some leads that we were worried about failing. So in the process of doing this is the first time I'm in a bucket truck. There's a little panel down on the bottom, that the control panel. It's got a lid to it. Well, I left the lid up. I don't use buckets. I don't know nothing about this thing. I left the lid up, one up, cut a branch, tossed it down. It went down like this, just straight down, spearing, and went straight to the panel. Right into it, shut the lift down. Took forever before I finally got down. I think I rappelled down on a rope, but that was my first experience. Now I have to buy a new panel board, $500. Luckily, it was was able to get a used one. It was 500. So like, start out in the hole, then I start to use it, and I start the entire technique of dog leashing. I'd never seen that before. I don't know if anyone else had ever done that. It was something I had never seen. But the reason I come up with the technique, like mainly, and like use it, is because I would run into times where 60 foot wasn't enough. So what I would do is I would top the tree, and I had some big humongous straps and ropes. And I would dog leash one half of the tree to the base. And cut the whole tree and hang it off. And then dice it up as it hung there. So even if there was stuff up underneath it, I could, as long as I got up over the halfway point, I put a notch, I took the entire top and hung it off of it, and it would stay right there, and I would dice it up on the way down. It took some very big ropes, and took some doing, like, before I finally got it like dialed in. But man, I got to where I was so productive, and I come up with tricks, and then I learned how to like deal with the sensors on the bucket to keep them from going off all the time and bypass things. It just made everything so much quicker, and it just became like my right hand. I was using it so much, I was getting so much done. Then I was forced to climb, and I realized like I was terrified. Like, usually I have a what would you say, a respectable amount of fear for any climb, but I was scared almost. Like, I realized like my fluent, natural, movements weren't there. I felt sketched out. I was trying anything to get the lift back there. I was like wanting to take down a retaining wall and squeeze it in and take a fence down, and just to avoid climbing. And I realized that day, like, whoa, this thing is doing me no good. That lift has done me no good. It has, I've been very productive for the guy that I work for, but I have been ruining all my fluent, work and ability on spikes, climbing, saddle, and ropes. So I like instantly that day I realized, I was like, whoa, okay, now we're gonna split this up. And I would bring the lift to jobs, and I would just go climb anyway, because it had been a few days, just so I could stay going, because I just knew how shady the guy was. Eventually, I knew we weren't ever going to be around each other, and I didn't have a lift. So I didn't want to ruin what I had. Climbing is something, if you don't use it, you lose it. It doesn't just stay there. It's not a natural thing for a human being to be up in a tree, swinging around with a chainsaw, cutting things over the top of things that are very valuable and potentially have lives in. It's it's not natural. So if you're not doing that kind of thing all the time, it's not going to feel good when you get up there. You're going to feel very awkward. And I felt like that. And like, I remember when I started and I thought back to that, and I'm like, what happened? I refused to get in this thing originally. I said, I'm not getting in a lift. And it was just there. And like, there was a day when I was sore, and it was like, oh, okay, I'll take it up. And it was easier. It was more productive with the right tricks and stuff. Just like tricks that I would have when I'm climbing, I'd come up with my own bucket tricks. So like, that's where when I went back into climbing and got right back into climbing and just stuck to it, that's where the dog leashing technique comes from. You could see where it would be really effective when you could hang it, like your lift doesn't reach, you're maxed out. So you swing and cut the section that you can't reach and hang it off the side of the log so that you can dice it up and process it where you couldn't because your lift's not tall enough. So that's where the technique comes from, and that's why I kind of use it in climbing. But yeah, that's my experience with it. What do you guys? I mean, let me catch up on comments. What's up, Rob? Bob? Peter, what's up, buddy? My articulated loader will not tear yards up. Yeah, I think tractors are even better because the wheelbases are wider and like the wheels are further apart. A Bobcat turns and the wheels are so close that it just tears. So I think a lot of those are just like almost the worst. My bucket is over 20,000. What's up, Peter? Hey guys, sorry I'm late. No, Rob, Bob, you're good, buddy. I have a small Kubota tractor with turf tires. There you go, BTS. Very easy on the yards. Also a 7,000 pound yeah, doesn't mess up your yards. There you go. We'll carry 2,000. That is cool. That's probably the route I should go. Bro, the bucket moving, the tree moving, all that will mess you up at times. Yeah. Yeah, originally, when I. What's up, James? How are you, buddy? When I originally started doing it, like, that sway, like, I thought it was breaking. Like, I'm like, is this thing okay? Like, is this supposed to move this much? Because those things get worn out. This guy wasn't working on these things. I had to learn how to work on my. I had never been in one, and within a year, I was the one doing most of the mechanic work on it, and like learned how to open the valves and like replace sensors and like bypass the computer to trick it to say it's balanced so that I could do something I wasn't technically supposed to do with it. Weird stuff. So yeah, they're strange, man. That method can be a little sketchy too. Yep. Rent a 35 or a 55 bucket from Home Depot and add it onto the bill. Make sure to get the insurance when you rent it in case something happens. Okay, Fred, do me a favor. Next time that you go to rent one, tell them you're doing tree work with it. And ask them if the insurance that they are giving you will cover tree work. Because I swear to you it won't. They require you to get the insurance whether they don't care what you're doing. That insurance on that paper, if you read that, says it does not cover tree work on them lifts. They're not meant for that. They're meant to like put up siding or do painting and stuff like that. Like bill jacks are not meant for it. So I don't know if you have different kinds of lifts or your situation's different, but at my rental stores, we have nifty lifts, we have bill jacks. Both of them are not. You have to when you rent them. They require you to carry to buy the insurance, and the insurance says on the paper that you sign does not cover tree work. And I'm like, are you guys serious? This doesn't cover tree work. Why would I want this if it doesn't cover tree work? Well, what the company is going to do is going to try. Hopefully, you know them, and they could maybe pull a quick one to say something else technically happened that wasn't tree work. But let me be clear. I've been told, and I don't know one rental place alive that can rent a lift like that, a telescopic pull behind lift, and rent it to you for tree work, because the insurance would be so insane that I don't know. I don't know. But I've tried, Bill. Or Fred. I've tried. Hey guys, I've had positive and negative experience with bucket trucks. I don't have one yet, but hopefully in a few years I'll have my second year of business myself. Rob Bob, same thing with me. I think a bucket is something that's in my future. It definitely is, but it's not something that I need right now. That's what I do, rent a lift or sub it out. I did find a person that owns a sawmill that will pay $40 a ton for clean pine that is 16-inch diameter. Huh. But I have to deliver, so not worth it to me. Yeah. 3,200 for a dozen arbor mats. Never look back. Dang, that's a lot of money though, Abe. That's a lot of money, man. I've been half lift, half climber lately. Hey, that's a good, dude. That's a great combination. Nothing wrong with that, Peter, at all. Can't let climbing slip away. I agree. I think you're very smart for that too. Bucket trucks are not always the safest because of positioning or lack of positioning. Yeah, yeah, you're exactly right. And I used to do silly shit like hanging off my bucket. Like, I did some silly shit. And then, like, I would just hang a branch off of, like, off of the side. And then I would just have another anchor that was on the bottom of the lift on the main, underneath the basket. And I had a strap that came up, and I would hook my strap on and then take the limb off and lift it, unclip, like, and carry them over houses, limbs that were too big for me to hold. But I came by one time when I was off of a break, and he had another climber that was supposedly working for him, and I had took a vacation. When I came back early, and I drove by, and they were doing a job, and the climber was taking the lift and had the telescopic part all the way out, and they were lifting logs with it. And like, I just freaked out. I'm like, nope, no, I'm not dying. The bucket fell off one time on them, like stupid stuff. But I think you're right, BTS, 100%. There's a time and a place for everything. Yep, absolutely. Depending on the access and how you bid the job, 100%. I mean, I don't know about everybody else, but like the option of just slapping another 400 or more onto someone's job, most people don't just have the money to throw around. I mean, that could just be the instant no. So to have the backup and be able to climb it and be able to do it, you don't lose out. Like, and I was just thinking about it. Like, I remember how scary getting back into climbing was after that. It was something that just, like, I thought about, and I'm like, what happened? Like, do I not have it anymore? But at that same time, if I'm just being straight up and honest with you guys and completely transparent, I was going through personal stuff at that time. Had I was very addicted to opiates, and I had a very, very, very bad habit that was very expensive and really just ruled my life basically. And I had went through a lot of rehab, put myself through rehab for years, and it took a long, long time. I think it was like 4 years or more before. I think it was maybe 4 years. Maybe it was less. Maybe 3 years. But it was a long time. That's all I remember. I stopped keeping track. So I had just gotten clean and was trying to figure out life like that. And like, I'd throw a fistful of pain pills in my mouth to go up a tree. And like, I was flying. Like, I felt great. And it's really hard to tell somebody like me, and I don't, because I want to say just me, because I don't want to like classify anybody else, but like, when there's this little thing that's like just this little solid piece of chalky pressed together stuff that just about this big, it's a little bitty skinny thing, and if you throw it in your mouth and swallow it, you'll feel great. You won't hurt. It'll give you maybe a little pep in your step, like, you can see my brain working right now, and it does when I get to talking like this. Yeah, like, it's hard to tell me don't do that. You know, this little thing here will make you feel great, and who don't want to feel great? So I didn't know if I could climb. I really didn't know if I could. So that's where the bucket truck started to come in, or the lift. Like, it wasn't an actual bucket truck, but the lift started to come in. Is that I questioned if I could do what I did before. Like, am I good, or was it the medicine all the time? Like, and that sounds stupid to say. Like, I may regret opening up like this, but like, I didn't know. I'm just being straight. Like, I didn't know. Did the medicine knock my nerves and like put me in a different mindset that I could do this job and I was really good at it, but now without it, I'm not? Because like, I tried and I didn't know, really didn't know what was going on. Like, I thought, who? I may not be that guy, but at the time I was dealing with withdrawals and stuff, and like trying to figure out life without it, and so, I guess I was at a weak point, basically, just in general, mentally, physically, and that lift being here, I got very dependent on it, and tried like kind of stayed away from climbing and avoided it until that day came where I was forced to, and I just didn't want to hear that. I can get this lift back there, like I can. I just give me a second. Let me think. Like, so if I just cut off this part of their house, like it'll fit. Like it'll fit. No, it'll fit. I mean, so they're good, but they can give you a handicap long term if you're a climber. I 100% agree with that statement. You don't do it for a while. And a trip getting back into. Yep. Oh man, no video, but knowing we had 2 trees. Lift first climber, no contest. Tractors are cheap. Cheaper than agricultural loader for sure. For sure, GP. Will you say yours is a articulated loader? Like, so what? Like with a claw that spins? Is that what it is, ground pounder? Very lucky on mine. Dog leashing for the win absolutely comes in handy, Mike. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Turbo and Rob. Oh, I agree. The tree moving in the wind can be disappointing. Yes, I agree. Dog leashing is good go. I must be really far behind on comments. I'm so sorry. In Florida, they just don't want you to paint out on it, but they will let you do tree work. Oh, that's crazy. It specifically says on the paper that I go to sign, anytime I've ever gotten one, because I've even gotten them for my brother. Like, I'll go by and get it because he didn't have an ID at the time. So when I sign the paper, it says this insurance covers any blah 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 blah. Or what is the word they use? Except, but it was a smarter term. Except tree work. This insurance this is not, this does not cover tree work. So that's the only thing it said it didn't cover. So it wasn't like there was a list of things that it didn't cover. Tree work, it does not cover. So, and I could understand the painting one, you know, because you're going to paint all over it. I'm sure the rental place here where I'm at, they've dealt with that. I think I've seen it before. So, Florida man says, yeah, hey, Florida hits different. Let's just be straight. Like, y'all do things different down there, and we do things different here in Farmington. So, it is what it is, you know. It's cheaper in my bid if I use the bucket. Yep. Prices go up if I climb 100%. My pleasure, Ground Pounder. Cool, Turbo. Definitely not easy. Definitely not easy. 5 years away from those damn pills and alcohol. So proud of you, man. Yeah. It's been much longer than that now. Like, man, it was a rough go though. I questioned everything. Like, I questioned everything I did. Like, so tree work was a major one. Like, cause you got to be in a mindset a lot of times. Like, my mind talking to you guys right now is completely different. You put me on a job site, point me at a tree, tell me there's something that needs to be done in that tree, and my brain does this and just locks in, and I'm like, I probably lose my sense of humor. I get very just like data-based, and I'm playing out scenarios in my head, thinking of what about this? Like, I'm playing out scenarios that will probably never happen, but just so I can maybe, how can I get out of that? How can I get out of that? And my head starts going 90 to nothing until there's that time where it's like to fire the chainsaw up to make a cut or to start climbing. And at that point, so it's like chaotic. It's like a crowd talking in my head almost. Very just nutso kind of feeling. Then all of a sudden, click. Deep breath, quick prayer, I climb. I'm not thinking about nothing on my climb. Like I blank out. In the middle of the cuts, I feel like I do the same thing. I blank out. Uh, it's a mindset thing. It really is. Like I'm in a different mindset when I'm doing what I do. So that's probably why I questioned it and wondered so much with it. So, but thanks, Peter. I personally have suffered addiction, but I'm still without my problems. Hey, everybody's got their issues, man. Heck no, me the climber. There you go, Peter. Yeah, so hey, there you go. There, okay. I'm sure a bunch of you wanted to know when I had my accident and I fell. Why didn't I go to the hospital? Why didn't I go? I was so scared. I was terrified. Like I walk around with my ribs are still broken and poking out of my chest right now. I have crazy out of the blue pains in my hips, like my pelvis. Sometimes my back gets sore out of nowhere. Like I didn't go because I was afraid. Like I'm just being straight up. They gave me a shot or something for pain, or I knew like I just knew what the outcome was, like medication, some form of medication, and like I can't do it. Like I can't do it. I felt like the whole time I'm climbing after getting sober, getting things together, getting my head clear, realizing I'm pretty damn good at this. And then realizing I'm better than I thought I was. Like I'm damn good at this. As long as my head's clear and I got control of my problem and like I'm just blinders on, I'm getting it done, and all of a sudden I had my accident and I'm like, I'm stupid. I am a complete idiot. I had everything figured out. I was on this path of figuring, just finally getting control of life. I have my accident. I fall, mess myself all up. I can't walk. And all my brain said is, now you get to suffer. You earned it. Don't go to the hospital. Don't go get checked out. You did it. You didn't pay attention. You didn't respect what you were doing. You messed up. Now you suffer. And if you can deal with this and figure it out, maybe you get another shot. If you can suffer through it and deal with what you created, maybe God will give me another shot. So there's why. That's why I didn't go get straight to the doctor. That's why I didn't do all this other stuff. Like I was scared, and that's just me being as honest as I can be. And I suffered. I've never hurt. Like I've never been in that kind of pain. Nowhere near it. It was a suffering that I've never felt before, where my legs didn't work. I could move my feet, but I couldn't move my legs. From like, actually it was like all the way up. Like my collarbone was stupid sore. My ribs were broken and just all messed up. I could barely breathe. My hips were messed up and I couldn't move my legs. Like it was wild. And like I didn't know if I could do it, but I felt like I'm more of a karma person. Like I felt like if I can show whoever you want to say God is, if I can show them that like I'm sorry, I'll I'll suffer, and like I did it to myself. You know, I don't have insurance or nothing, so couldn't pay the bills and do all that stuff. Like it was all messed up. But if I can suffer through it and deal with it and not take a back step on my sobriety and just show complete strength, then maybe he'll give me another shot. And that's where I find myself at now, if I'm being honest. So anytime I get to do, you know, anything in a tree, just kind of have to remember to be grateful. And because that's all I ever, that's like the only thing, if somebody could give me something when I was hurt, is just let me be able to walk and get up in a tree again. And then I got it. So I gotta be grateful. Thanks, Turbo. Thanks, GP. Thanks, John. I feel your pain. I've been there before. Thank God love for saving me, but I had to hit the bottom first. Fred, we're probably very similar, buddy. Yeah, I had to do the same. You know, it's just no two lives are ever going to be the same, but some can be very similar. You gotta hit rock bottom before you can get back up. That's what's up. Did you, Rick Big, go home earlier? Nice piece of cake. You gotta take that. You too. No, no, no need to be sorry, Peter. You're good, man. That was a crazy vice, and I feel for anybody that suffers with addiction. It's very tough. I think unless you suffer with it, it's going to be. And I hate hearing people say that, but it's the honest to God's truth. If you've not dealt with it, then you just don't. You don't really understand. I'm sure it could be relatable with something in your life. There's something that maybe you had on a regular basis, and you started to become dependent on it to the point when it left, it hurt. So it could be relatable to something in your life, but like true addictions, it's a it's a biatch. Let's just be real. Like I feel for anybody that suffers with alcohol addiction because that's like there's not a store that I can just run to just go buy a bunch of pain pills. Like that's so. I mean, there's one where if I go to a doctor and he writes them, then they send them to a place, then I pay them, then you get them and you get a few, but there's no just place. Alcohol's everywhere. So when someone has that kind of a problem, they're also dealing with it being flaunted in their face nonstop. When I worked for that guy, one like the biggest thing that had me messed up with him, like, and I just was always kind of. He instantly just did the worst thing he could. Like one of the first days working with him, he like takes a bottle of Vicodin and puts them up on his middle console, and he's like, "You need a few?" And I'm like, "No, I'm good," because I wasn't feeling good. And he's like, "Eat as many as you want." And I'm like, "No," and he's like, "I gotta go in here and give this estimate." So he jumps out and goes and walks in to go talk to a lady and give her an estimate. And I'm stuck in the truck with this medicine. And I start like, my skin starts crawling. And I start like about to lose. I had to get out of the truck and go sit on the tailgate because I'm like, no, I can't do it. Like, one little mistake takes away so many years and so much money invested. It's like I can't do it. So. Peter, you're 100% right. I'm 10 times the climber that I was when I was taking pills. So I know that for sure. But I didn't know that initially. But I can definitely advocate and tell somebody who's suffering and wondering and questioning if they ever get, like, can get 100%. And I'm doing it at a much older age. I'm sure if you're younger, it just becomes easier. So, I gotta remember the camera's on that side. I'm trying, Billy. I know I'm methodic and struggles, but the motto can come. Screw it. Yeah, I mean, the only time I had mess ups when I was at work, like anything, when I worked for that guy that was anything major, was when I would sub in beforehand, like before I went to rehab and stuff, I would sub in every once in a while, and his workers would have like Adderall, and they would give me one, and if I was on like some kind of a speeder, I made some stupid mistake. Like it's just what it is. Some people that becomes their life. They become such an addict that like that's them normal is when they have their drug. But don't get it twisted. That guy could be even better than he is. And I'm proof. So he may be amazing when he's on meth. And it sucks because like an addict deserves to make a living too. But it's scary, man. It's scary. And this line of work is riddled with it because the work is so hard to have any extra boost or any something that would give you an extra hand, whether it be a little extra energy, a little more strength, make it a little bit quicker. Like I get it, and I get it 100%, and I think that's why the job gets so many shady characters because it turns good people into shady characters sometimes if they don't have the will because of how the work will break you down and stuff. So like, a guy tears himself up for month after month after month working. He's just worn out, and he can, if I don't know how I'm gonna make it to work tomorrow, man. As he's going home, well, his buddy says, "Hey, I hear, take this in the morning." And he takes it, and he just turns into this like freight train that gets everything done because it's sped him up. Sometimes going too fast makes mistakes, but like I get why it would be hard not to want to do that every day. Because you're like, no, you don't understand. I got twice as much done that day. To an addict, justification is everything. If you can justify it in some way, it's okay now. No matter what it is you did, as long as you say, well, I got this, 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 and this done, there's nothing wrong with it. It was a tool I used to get more done. So you're dealing with a full-fledged recovering addict and will probably be for the rest of my life. And that's just the way my brain works, but yeah, it's wild though, ground pounder. Dude, I've met hundreds of them, and I've known so many of them. Some of the best climbers that I've ever seen. But look, let me be clear, they couldn't hold my jock now. But things were different back then. But they were some of the greatest climbers I've ever seen. And they were twacked out of their mind, man. Daily. For $100. Absolutely right, BTS. I can attest I was working every day to solely cover my pill habit. So I can understand they're going out. They need $100 worth of meth or $80 worth of meth or whatever, so they had $20 for cigarettes and something to eat. They ain't eating. Who are we kidding? I just heard somebody cough outside. Sound like a guy. Complete scatterbrain until he climbs. That's funny. Yeah, Peter, you're right. Those kind of guys are usually the guys that run off with your chainsaw, steal from you, or they go back to a customer's house and steal. So those are scary sometimes, but they're full grown adults. You shouldn't have to be responsible for their actions. You know what, BTS? I don't think we're ever gonna deal with it again, man. Addiction was something I know, and I seen how, like, I know me. My whole thing with pills was like when. No, I'm not getting that deep. I'm not. I'm not. This is the internet. No matter how you want to look at it, and you guys are all my friends and stuff like this is stuck on here, and people that I don't know and are just gonna judge me. So definitely don't want to go too deep, but yeah. Anyone ever get pain shivers where all of a sudden one feels like you got hit by a truck with pain and it causes you to shiver? Yeah. Yeah, when I get sore, I think it's my arthritis. Is my hands circulation's really bad, like my feet, because of my knees being blown out. My feet don't get very good circulation, so my feet are always cold. My hands are really cold, but I have like osteoarthritis, or no, rheumatoid. I think. Yeah, I think it's rheumatoid. It's the lesser of the two, whichever one that is. I don't think mine's the worst one, but I've had it ever since I was younger, and like, just is what it is. I take ibuprofen, a lot of it, so that's my pill of choice. I used to, I had such a habit when it comes to pills that I wanted my pills to kick in so fast that I would break them up. If I could chew them, I would chew them, and I would drink them with blistering hot coffee so that I could get them to melt in my stomach quicker so I could feel them quicker. It was a straight routine. Now, I still kept that routine of the coffee, like, and I will take a couple ibuprofen and drink my coffee. So the routine of it is something that like I never really lost, but I lost the toxic part of the routine and just put something else in its place. Because losing the routine would have been a harder thing. I don't know. My brain works different. I could sit here and do live feeds for the rest of my life. You guys aren't gonna 100% understand me. Because I feel like I don't fit in totally 100% anywhere. Hell yeah, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. PTSD, and that's a different animal too. I feel like I could very easily become dependent, so I bet you can, man. I bet you can. It's you have a lot of the traits, the extremeness of you. Like, I'm the type of person, whatever it is I do, I want to be either the best at it or I want to be the best. I want to do an excessive amount, and I want to be at the top, no matter what. Like I want to understand it fully. I want to be the best at it, and I want to do the most of it. And that's just me. That's the way I've always been, and that's an addictive personality. I'm the poster child when it comes to that. So, and I notice a lot of tree guys are that way. Yeah, I could see that, ground pounder. My wife's probably my anchor too. I'm terrified. And that's a good thing, ground pounder. I I was scared of the guy that I was about to become, and that's the reason I went to rehab, and that's the reason I drove to rehab 7 days. Okay, I used to drive an hour and a half to my rehab, and an hour and a half home. I would go 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Hey, if it doesn't like cause you pain, you can hit the thumb button and I'd appreciate the hell out of it. You don't have to, but if you don't mind. Apparently YouTube likes that stuff. But I used to drive there 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I think in all, I think I want 4 years. Let's just say to be safe. I've tried to forget about it as much as possible. And I would go up there for 4 years straight, 365 days a year. I tore cars up in the process. I would have to get up at like 4:30 in the morning so I could get up there and then get back and then do my day. And so 4 years of that, and there was probably like, I think it was like 70, like altogether, probably $60 a day, every day, because I would have to pay up there $20. I guess not 60. Let's say $40 a day, and then $20 in gas, $20 up there, and they would give me an opiate blocker. I took it. I took. I would take the medicine, and I built up really high on it until I got to the point where I was no longer craving. Stayed at that and plateaued for quite a while. Then I wung myself down on my own. All this was on my own. Like, I didn't have anybody telling me what I should do, when I should do it. They said, you'll feel it, and you just need to go with it. And then when I finally stopped coming, and then I had some people that I knew and I was helping them and take them back up there, they were like, straight up was like, I don't know that there's only a few people that wing themselves down to the point like you did and actually leave out. So hopefully it's got a better success rate than I was told, but it worked for me. So I can't say anything. But it was tough. There was a lot invested there, and that's the reason I can't ever give it back. I damn near ripped 3 teeth out, and I got liquor non for 3 days, and had withdrawals like a SOB. It was after. Yeah, it does not take long, and the feeling is so miserable. Not at all ashamed to say my wife is my rock and saving. Hey, you're a good man. You're a secure man, and mine's the exact same way, man. She's not looking for attention, and like, she's as gorgeous as a woman gets, but doesn't like starve for the compliment from like other people. And she's just so good with just being her and doing what she does. And she's, I married up. Like, I married way out of my pay grade. Let's just be clear. What's up, William? How you doing, buddy? William, yeah. Hey, dude. That doesn't mean they don't know what they're doing. You know, they. I've been taught things by many of them. Um, I've had some guys that like, cause no, like I grew up. My dad did this, and like I even as a little kid, like I knew what they did. I'd go help them. I'd seen what my dad did. Kind of thought my dad was like a superhero for the most part, you know, and seen the characters, dealt with them. They were nuts. And my dad would explain, like, I started figuring things out, and I found out why they were nuts, and then like, and then now they see me, and like they'll talk to my dad, you know, see my dad out, and be like, hey, you know, and I've had a few of them that have found out like what I do now, and like see the YouTube channel, and they've been really cool. They've told me that they're clean now, but the couple that I've met, I can obviously tell that they're not. But hey, it is what it is. You can live your own life. But yeah, taking the wrong step is easy. depending on where you live, who you're around. Biggest things who you're around, who you surround yourself with. So, hope everybody gets a lot of jobs this year. Does a really clean job, and the clients like it. 100%, Fred. I dig that. You too, brother. You definitely deserve it. I stand up and kapow. Straight up Arctic shivers. Dang. Wonder if you have a pinched nerve or something. GP. Wonder if you have a pinched nerve. My dad used to have spurs. Like my knees are completely messed up. Since I've been sitting here, my leg popped out of place. I haven't moved. I was just moving my feet. My left leg's out of place right now. Completely out of place. Like if I was going to rest all my weight on it, it would crunch and fold. I figured out ways to move it and get it to pop back in. I could probably need to wear braces non-stop, but I can't do that. It's too annoying. But my dad had spurs in his shoulders, and dude, he got to where he could barely move his arms and stuff. So I think they took care of him somehow. But yeah, just any person that does manual labor is gonna deal with the aches and pains and the effects of it one day. So just try to take care of yourself as much as you can. Jelly rolls, son of a son, tree man's all. Oh, I dig that. Really? I'll have to listen to that. It's been 7 years since my last drink. Good for you, Billy. 4 years sober. Hell yeah, Abe. The beats and addiction. Or what is it? You and me grew both, Ground Pounder. I think, that kind of stuff. You need to celebrate it, and because it's definitely not something you need to forget. Because in hard times is when you're the weakest, and it's the easiest to kind of get like that. So trying to figure out who you are emotionally, like physically, more like mentally who you are as a person, and getting control of that, because like the mind it's everything. And I'm a spaz, and my brain doesn't work normal. But I have realized like it controls so much, and being mentally strong is probably the hardest thing. And the toughest thing to have control of. So especially in like the winter times right now. So, if you have any friends that you see are a little down and out, maybe don't mind, check on them. Make sure they're doing alright, because like things get tough this time of year. And I'm never gonna get on here and sob to you about things being tough, but let me be clear, things are tough. But like there's always tomorrow. And they have the potential to get better. So don't forget to check on people. So that's why I really like our live feeds even more during this time of year. I think this probably hopefully helps some of us to have somebody to talk to every now and then. Tweaker taught me the Blake's hitch. No, I never used really the Blake's hitch. I always used the taut line. And this is what's even crazier. When I started climbing, I get an hour-long message twice a month. The chiropractor twice a week. Hey, whatever gets the job done, that's awesome, dude. I have torn rotator cuff, so climbing is not easy for me. Oh, no way. And I'm fat. You're funny. That's awesome. Hey, dude, you're getting it done. That's all that matters. But, I knew I was going to forget it if I didn't just say it right there. Let me look back up at a couple comments and see. Oh, okay. Now I remember what I was going to... My taut line hitch is only 2 on the bottom, 1 on the top. I climbed like that for years. And that's how I was taught. That's how my dad did it. I climbed like that for years. 2 on the bottom, 1 on the top, no stopper knot, get it done. Off topic, does anybody else let the sawdust fly up then real fast? Then wipe it real fast out the window. Off topic, does anyone else ever let the sawdust dry up then wipe it real fast out the... Oh, like, yeah, you clean yourself off. Here's one thing for guys that work spars and you're rigging things down. When you make your cut, clean the top off, because when you go to cut your next piece and you're looking up and you're pushing, a lot of times you'll end up getting sawdust in your eyes if you're like wearing a mesh visor or something. So a lot of times, like if I'm working chunks down, I'll clean the top of the log off, because I don't want to end up with it flying in my face or the ground guy's face as it goes to dump over, because usually it's covered. So, little tip. I learned that from Jaden Anderson. So, Billy, you're funny. Ground pounder, hey, dude, we dig having you here, definitely. There's a couple of you guys, and you guys basically carry this channel as far as the live feeds go, and you know, commenting and like conversating. There's better conversations going on in the in the live feed there than what I'm talking about a lot of times. So I'm here to keep up appearances. If it ever gets to a point where I just don't want to talk and stuff, I may just turn the live feed on and do something, and you guys can talk, because, and I'll make it clear that I don't waste anybody's time, that that's what I'm doing. But like, I'm just saying, if I ever got to that point, I still feel like the live feed could go on with just you guys and you guys talking. So I want to catch up on comments. I'm probably gonna end up stopping, but yeah, you guys have made this a crazy cool year, and I don't know what is the reason, but I just have a desire to want to push out content more than I ever had before. So we'll see where that takes the channel. We'll see where that takes it. I would love for the channel to get big. That would be great. It would allow me to make money off of it and be compensated for my time and efforts and all that stuff. It'll be a long time before this channel would ever actually make me money. I put a very large sum into it. It gives really nothing, but it gives a little bit back that covers a little portion of it, but I do it because I like this. So it would be great for the channel to be able to pay for itself, but at the same time, I feel like I would lose this friendliness that we have with our live feeds and like knowing you guys and talking with you guys if the channel was to get too much bigger. But we are about to hit, like, I think 8,000. Should be close. Oh no, I'm not saying you guys. Yeah, I love how you guys do your own thing in the comments, because a lot of times I'm just rambling about a specific thing, and I'm not answering you guys back, because so like there's dialogue going on between you guys, which sometimes gives me a little break, so that I don't have to like respond to every single one. I can tell what you guys are doing. So you guys are pretty good about like putting the person's name and then being like, hey, and I can instantly see, okay, not for me, not okay, there. So it doesn't bother me at all. You guys are good. Keep doing what you do. I was just pointing out that I like that. Billy. Future moderators? 100%. I think YouTube asked me if I wanted to make moderators. I probably should. Oh, Jeff, I didn't even realize you were here. Jeff or Jeffrey? What would you prefer? I will call you what you prefer. A fun year, and I think we have too, Dan. I think it's been a great one. You guys have definitely showed me there's a reason to keep the channel going. I mean, like, I felt like I fell into a little bit of a rut there for a while and was ready to, like, change the name and do a bunch of stuff, and, like, I was over the channel. And that wasn't that long ago. So, I may just be bipolar, and I'll probably jump back into that here in a few months, but we'll see. Oh, and a lot of times I'm joking and I don't laugh, so if you don't really know me and haven't seen very many of these, like, don't take me so serious. Sometimes I just forget that you're supposed to laugh after jokes. I used to call it 2 over 2. 2 over 1 is scary. Yeah. Wishing everybody a very happy new year. Oh, that's awesome, Peter. Cool. Editing's hard, but it's something, after you get the hang of it, it stays pretty easy after that. Like, the advancements of it aren't, you can get a style, stick to it, and you don't have to stray from that. You can build, I built this channel off my phone and a free editor. So it's very possible. And I'm not a very tech savvy person at all. I hardly watch the others anymore. I don't like. There's a bunch of tree channels that I've kind of strayed away from, but I have. Actually, I lie. I haven't strayed away from any of them. I watch a lot of tree. They're just most of my friends, and I just. A lot of times I'm just watching to support my friend. So, like, even August puts out a lot of content. I'll watch it. Like, as far as, like, if I feel like definitely wouldn't be best friends, but I would get along. We do the same. I respect it. I respect the hustle. I respect the skills. So I support. I'm sure, Ground Powder, we're gonna beat this next year up more than we beat this one. So I tell you what, Jeffrey, have a good one, buddy. Thank you for hanging out. I really appreciate it. Let's just hope we don't get any pandemic blues and stuff, and we'll be all right. I love it, Fred. I love it. That's awesome. I agree, Peter. It's going to be a great year. Billy says we're finally getting together for our weekly chat. Just family getting together, man. No, no, I love it, Ground Pounder. Get them. What size file did I use for my 201? 3/8, I think. I believe. Oh, hang on. I'm not the guy that knows, like, file size. Here's my file right here. I'm not the guy that, like, does that. I never ever remember this kind of stuff, and I should, but I just don't. And I don't know if my eyes are that good. to see it. Dang it. Let me look over here. Hang on, Bill. We're going to answer your question before we end this. Here's our files. So we'll just look on this that we got sent to us from Kellen. And Kellen, if you see this, I need to send you a saw and have you do some saw work for me. So that maybe be something we can do. We could do like a collab between our channels. That way I can help you with your channel. Maybe we can build it up. Here we go. Alright, so it would be $5.30. Yeah, 5:30. Oh, you stupid thing. I'm not. But I'm sure there's another one here, because I know there's the next size down that also works too. Which would be, it should be maybe this one. $11.64. Yeah, there's $11.64, I think, or 5/32. No, that's not right. Or is it? I'm not the file guy. I'm just not. I use whichever ones that I just kind of know when I go in. Like that's the one I'm going to use, so. Probably not the best for answering that question. Now I stood up and I feel better too. Good night, everyone. Okay. But I hope that helped, Bill. 5/32 or 11/64. So yeah, those two I think are the two. What the hell is a YouTube moderator do? A moderator, bro. A moderator is the person that like will monitor what goes on during the live feeds. If somebody says something stupid, they can boot them, hide their comment, stuff like that. I don't know. You basically just become like my employee, and you got to do everything I say. So don't worry, I'm gonna make all you guys moderators. You guys, you got to do everything I say after that. Pow pow, don't might catch the bottom of the comments. Oh no. Woman Wi-Fi, top video editing. I made educational videos for a college. Really? Dang. I'll never come to see you. I am very far behind. I snuck over and caught a couple of Dan the Tree Mans. And then who else was I just watching? Tell you what, August just ends up being at the top of my feed always. I think that's why I end up watching his. Because always, he puts out so much stuff. My phone is always going off. Like, I started to think, I'm like, is this guy, like, uploading right after me always? Because, like, anytime I put, and then I just noticed, no, he's just always uploading. Like, I'm uploading, and I probably got on his schedule or something. I don't know. But I think it kind of helps sometimes. Usually when he'll post one a couple hours, like an hour after mine, or like sometimes right during the same time. It's like if somebody's watching a tree video, they'll probably watch another one sometimes afterwards, more likely. So, yeah, sometimes I feel like I end up getting views from it. So, like, what's your favorite type of tree to climb? Dismantle. Mine is pine. Mine is not pine. Absolutely not. I don't know, man. maybe sycamore. I know it sounds crazy. I love climbing in sycamores. I love the challenge of it being a slick bark tree. It's smooth. I don't get the issues with the like throat thing that some people get, but and usually they're kind of hoggy and a little bit fat, girthy. So I know it may sound crazy, but a lot of times sycamore's fun. So 1164. Good 5/30. 1/4 inch Pico. Yeah, that's what this is here. Or no, are these 1/4 inch Pico? Yeah, yeah, these are 1/4 inch Pico. I break these all the time. I hate them. They're too skinny and they break. Every time I'll end up using it and it'll start to get a little bend to it and then all of a sudden snap. But I just pop the piece out and put it back in, but I'm complaining for no good reason. Yeah, depending on your saw, maybe 1/4 inch Pico chains. There was some good rigging. Yeah, that was a fun. It was a long time ago. It was probably 4 years ago, maybe or more. It was a long time ago. It was pretty fun. I remember it. It was rough. I had just made the winch for the bollard and came up with that, so really wanted to test it on that job. And the angle was really bad to show how much the tree actually moved on the first pre-tension for the tip on the last few cuts. Um, but then it was obvious, but the angle was horrible to show how much we lifted the log up and cut it. But yeah, yeah, I really wanted to use the winch and test it there. It's a perfect spot for it, and it ended up working really good. But it ended up messing up when I tried to lift a whole tree with it one time and bent it, and yeah. On the dead tree that was falling apart, that tree was ridiculously scary. I actually rigged the rest of that tree out, roped it out in big chunks. I was irate with the fact, like, I never checked my cameras on job site. I checked my cameras because the one messed up right as I was making that one cut over the neighbor's house, and it went perfect. Then the next one ended up then the battery went dead during that, so I missed that one. I checked, I'm pissed, realizing I missed, I switched the battery out. Then it starts reformatting the SD card. Something goes wrong there. It starts messing up. I would hit record and it would go for a couple seconds and then say restructuring error or something stupid and would go off. So I span rigged a log out of it and I rigged that big section that went between the two houses, and everything went so perfect. And I thought for sure I at least got the last one because I knew the other two cuts had messed up, and I didn't have them. And when I got to editing it, I was pretty for sure I got the last one. I thought I did, and when I got to editing and realized I didn't even have that one, I was very upset. I almost didn't. That's the reason. Like, I almost didn't want to make the video. I was not going to do it because all the good stuff I lost. And anybody that wanted to be a troll could easily be like, the reason you didn't show those parts is because you hit the house. And you didn't want to show your mistakes. And like, I can't say anything because I don't have the footage. Like, I want to show everything. And even if I messed up, I would show you. But yeah, I feel like I just set myself up for that kind of comments when I realized I didn't have any of it. It kept shorting out to the point that the only way it would work is it was hooked to a power source on the ground. When I hooked it to a battery box, that's when it finally started. It would, like I said, it would go 10 seconds and shut off. 8 seconds and shut off. Then when I got on the ground, it finally stayed on. But yeah, it is what it is. Thank you, Fred. Maple's a good one, ground pounder. Yeah, I can't deal with Joseph. I agree. I can't deal with the sap. Like it ruins everything. I hate sap. Sap's stupid. I like the structure of a pine, and I find them to be pretty cool to do. But I would do a bald cypress over a pine. I would do a Norway spruce over a pine. Not the biggest pine, but I would say one that isn't rotten, hollow, or covered in ivy. I they make trees like that, John, that aren't rotten. They're not hollow, and they're not covered in ivy. I've never seen one. I've never got to climb one, so I hate those quarter-inch chains. Yeah, me too. I wouldn't mind trying a panther bar one day, ground pounder too. I'd like to try one on my 150. I've been using the 150 for so long, and in that last video, that was when the 150 was brand new, and was before I did anything to it. Before I opened the exhaust and readjusted, and like before I did anything to that saw, that was it. It was being used there, and a lot of the footage is sped up, so it just ran like a pooch. It was so like I get why people aren't impressed with them when they first get them, but it's not the same saw now, and it sounds and works completely different. So I think that saw is technically air restricted to the point that it kills performance, and when you open it up, you get the real performance of what that saw should do. So that would be cool, though. I think the Panther bars are kind of neat. I like the chain. The chain looks really good. We'll use the 1164 for the 3/8. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you can use either one on that 3/8 chain. The 5/32 is for the 200T chain, not the Pico. Yeah, it depends on what saw you like. The newer saws, if it's a new saw, a 200 and like if it's a normal 3/8 chain, then it's going to take 5/32. It's going to take 11/64. You can use either one of them that you want to use. Um, then the newer saws are quarter-inch Pico chain, so very obvious. It's more of a thin, cut that it takes out that helps it, work even a little more efficient. I think. Everyone have a great New Year. Right on. Hey, have a good one, Turbo. Hey, I caught up to comments, guys. Thank you so much. You guys are the best. Let's just leave it at that. You guys know that you are. So, yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. I appreciate everything. All the support this year has been amazing, and the live feeds are like something I'm stoked for. Like originally when I come up with the idea, I didn't know if I wanted to continue it and do it all the time. I'm like maybe once in a while, but then we did it weekly, and then I started to get a groove to it, and like then I started to do them on the regular. I started liking it, and I'm like, now I need to talk to you guys. So thanks for hanging out. I hope you guys had a great Christmas. I hope your you have a good New Year's, which is very safe. Um, Stay warm, and I won't sound like Buck and Billy Ray, but maybe we try to be nicer to people this year. Help someone out. Give them a hand. Um, Pat them on the back. Tell them they did good, or reward someone for good behavior. Um, don't expect anything because of it. Just do it to do it. So that's my New Year's resolution. Just want to be a better person next year than I was last year. So not a whole lot, but you guys have been great. Thanks. I'll catch you next time. I'll put you another video up here soon. I have no idea what it's going to be, but I'll think of something. Stay safe. Have a good New Year. See ya.